Hi everyone! In this video I want to show you a game between Peter Svidler and Daniil Dubov. The game was played in 2017 on Russian Championship Superfinal Round 2. Let's see the game. White starts with c4, the English opening, and Black replies with g6. He wants to fianchetto his dark-square bishop to g7. Knight to c3, a developing move controlling the center. And Black replies with c5, controlling d4, allowing the queen to develop on the d8, a5 diagonal. g3 from White, he's preparing to fianchetto his light square bishop to g2, looking at the long diagonal. Bishop to g7 and bishop to g2. Knight to c6, another developing move, and we have the two knights line symmetrical English. Knight to f3, next would be castle, and d6, a pawn move protecting c5 and allowing the light square bishop to develop. In an opening, pawn moves are good only if they allow us to develop a piece. So this is a valid move. Short castle, white king is safe, and Black continues with bishop to f5. This is the fifth move played in this position. The bishop can be kicked away with e4. Because of this reason I don't like this move so much. Maybe Black could have tried a rook to b8, expanding on the queen side. White replied with h3, controlling g4 square, and he might play g4, kicking the bishop. That's why White played queen to c8, and he is attacking the pawn from h3, and White defends this pawn with king to h2. Knight to f6, another developing move, and next Black might castle short. d3 prepares e4, kicking the bishop away, and Black king is safe. White continues with e4. This move controls d5 square, and we can see that White has a hole on d4. So Black played bishop to d7. Here is retreating the bishop from the attack, and White develops the bishop to e3. Black played a6, controls b5, and prepares b5, gaining space on the queen side. Before playing b5, Black needs to prepare it with rook to b8. Rook to c1 from White. The rook is placed on the same file with Black queen, and also the rook gets out from the a1 h8 diagonal, avoiding any attacks from the bishop. Rook to b8 and knight to d5. White jumps into the center with the knight, attacking the knight from f6. Another way for White was to prevent Black from jumping to b4 with the knight by playing a3. Queen to d8, the queen is moved on a better square, looking at the d8, a5 diagonal. White has several possibilities here, and a good option would be to move the queen and finish the opening. In this way, White rooks are connected, White king is safe, and all the other minor pieces are developed. The queen stands good on d2, forming a battery with the bishop, and in the future the bishop might go to h6, exchanging the dark square bishop. In the game, White played b3. This move protects c4, and we can see that White has a lot of pawns on light squares, but White has two weaknesses in his positions. In this position, the pawn from a2 and the pawn from d3. At the moment, the a2 pawn is the weakest, so Black can attack it with queen to a5 or knight to b4. We can also notice that the dark square bishop is looking at an empty diagonal. He has no targets here. e6 from black, attacking the knight from d5, and white goes to c3. Black continues with e5, and white has several possibilities here to put the knight back to d5 or push a4, preventing black from playing b5. In the game, white decided to play knight to g1. He wants to meet knight to d4 with knight to e2. So knight to d4 from black, and white play knight to e2, attacking the knight. And here black strikes on the queen side with b5, and white does the same with f4. Black takes on f4, and here white took with the pawn from g3. This is a mistake. The g file is opened, and the drawback of this move is that h4 square is unprotected and the king is weak now. A better way for white was to recapture with the knight in this position. The position of the knight is improved, and also the rook is free. To enter the game via a rook lift to f4 and then to h4. So white took with the g-pawn, and black replied with b4. Black is attacking the knight from c3, and in this position white took the knight from d4 with the bishop. The best way was to go with the knight forward to d5. There is a rule in chess saying that an attacking move is good only if our opponent goes back. He's retreating, but in this case white can go forward. So this b4 move is not good. So the game continuation was bishop takes on d4, pawn takes on d4, and white goes back. It seems that white wants to reposition his knight to d2 and then to f3. Black continue with knight to h5, making room for the queen to go to h4. Knight to d2, the knight is developed to this square, and then he will go to f3. f5, an attacking move. Black wants to open some files towards the enemy king. Another way was to put some pressure on the f-pawn by playing bishop to h6. The bishop has no purpose on the long diagonal anymore. c5. White tries to open the c-file in order to activate the rook, and also creating a square for the knight to jump. The drawback of this move is that black can go with his bishop to b5, attacking the weakness from d3. d takes on c5, black takes, and white continues with e5, trying to close the position, but it was better to take on c5 with the rook, opening the c-file, creating some counterplay. With this move, we can see that white has a new weakness on f4 that can be attacked later by black. g5, black wants to open the g-file. Another way was to play queen to e7, defending the pawn from c5, denying white any counter chances. In the game, white took the pawn from c5, and black attacked the rook. White defends the rook and rook b to c8. Black is contesting the c-file, and here white is forced to take the rook from c8 and then place the knight on c4, blocking this file. Also, we can see that the rook from c5 is attacked twice by the rook and the queen. In the game, white played the move and he had to resign after 5 moves. The move played was queen to c4 check. The problem with this check is that black can block it with his light square bishop, and the queen has to move to a square where to defend the rook, but there is no square. The other idea that white thought here is to take the bishop with the queen and then bring the bishop from g2 to d5, pinning the queen from e6. But this is losing an exchange because black rook from c8 can take on c5 and white then can recapture the queen from e6 with the bishop. So let's see the line. Bishop to e6, the check is blocked, queen takes on e6, queen takes on e6, and bishop to d5, pinning the queen. And here black continue with rook takes on c5, bishop takes on e6 check, the king moves away from the check, and bishop to c4. White blocks the c-file with this move, and after next move white resign. If you want, you can pause the video and find the move by yourself. So black played knight takes on f4, and the game might continue like this. Knight takes on f4, bishop takes on f4, pinning the knight to the king, and the knight is lost on the next move. In this position, black is an exchange up and has a pawn majority on the king side. So black is winning here. I hope that you learned something from this game. Please watch other games for my channel, and if you like this video, click the like button and subscribe. See you soon. Bye.